Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back for another video. I hope you had a happy new year and that you are ready to grind for 2022. If you like this content, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. Guys, I have been doing a lot of thinking about what's going on right now. And I want to tell you something. This is unprecedented. What we have right now is unprecedented for Bitcoin's history. And so with that, there comes some good news and some bad news. And we have to navigate through this and trust that we have a certain level of conviction in the assets that we hold. I hope that's the case for you. You know, because for me, with Bitcoin and Ethereum being so much of my portfolio, I can confidently tell you that my foundation is secure. And I hope that's the same for you. But there's some good news. There's some bad news. How about I start? It's just, here's probably going to be the title of my video. I haven't titled this video yet as I'm making it. We have a minefield in front of us in the 50s. The idea in my head, the ability to break through the 50s, in my opinion, is going to be a long and arduous process. And I'll share what I mean by that in a second. But let me start out with the good news I already started out with the bad news. So how about I actually share the good news? Guys, I am telling you, this $40,000 range that we are in, this is, again, unprecedented. You picture this. Okay, the bull run started or ended in May of 2021. I know that we got higher. We had a double peak. We got to $69,000 in November. But really, if you look at on-chain metrics, if you look at wallet activity, the mania peaked in May, and then it hasn't returned since then. Could it return sometime in 2022? It could, but we've been in. But if you're just looking at on-chain activity, you probably would have guessed that the price dumped really hard after May and then never came back. It's wild. The fact that we got to $69,000 when everything was looking as terrible as that is pretty awesome. But so with that in mind, what we're seeing right now is typical of a bear market bottom. And I do believe when we get to the bear market bottom, when we get to, Bitcoin going down to that 200-week simple moving average, which marks bear market bottoms, that price will be higher than where we are now. But if we're looking at the big thing that the reason why I'm talking about this is this gap between short-term holders and long-term holders, the conviction that long-term holders have right now at a time like this, when a lot of people think we peaked at $69,000 is unprecedented in Bitcoin's history. And I think a lot of that is attributable to COVID and what a lot of governments did with their currencies, all that stimulus, all that free money, causing more fear with holding dollars or whatever currency you have versus holding Bitcoin. Bitcoin is much more sound. It is sound money. And so right now, in my opinion, I know that it's scary, but this is bear market bottom territory. I mean, imagine if you bought at the bear market bottom in December of 2018 when Bitcoin got to $3,000. Now, could it go lower? Sure, it could. It could. Maybe we'll sweep those lows. Maybe we'll sweep the lows of liquidation wick at $42,000. That's certainly within the realm of possibility. But you're going to remember this as a buying opportunity. I keep hammering that home. It might take months for us to get out of this, but you're going to remember this as a buying opportunity. So that's the good news. But let me tell you some other things too with this. Now, I've been monitoring Glassnode. I check this one alert every day. Now, this is a weekly summary. And so we are seeing net flows. We saw several days in a row of inflows to exchanges, which means it turns out what that looks like, in my opinion, is end of the year selling for tax purposes. So we saw some inflows to exchanges, but that has shifted back to outflows, which is a good sign. Now, Ethereum, there's something I've been paying attention to big time. Ethereum's inflows to exchanges were vastly outnumbering Bitcoin's, and that was pretty alarming to me. But and so this was the summary of last week as well. But that seems to have cooled off as well. And so I also think that that was end of the year selling. But then the other thing, again, illiquid supply. I know. I talk about illiquid supply all the time. Look at May, look at now. Illiquid supply has had another leg up. This is the highest increase of illiquid supply since before May. Long-term holders, people with conviction, are not selling. In fact, they're buying. They're buying at this $40,000 range. There's so thankful for the opportunity to buy right now. And so humor me for a second. Let's just say that this range, we've gotten under $46,000 several times, and that dollar amount seems to be the key level where people tend to buy again, or, the dip that, they don't want it to go any lower than that because somebody else is going to scoop it up. And so they want to buy. And so we're seeing a lot of buying as whenever Bitcoin gets under $46,000 within a span of an hour, it's back above $46,000 again. And so we're at these lows. We're at these lows of this range that we've been in for about a month. And in my opinion, it's clear to me, short-term holders are not reliable, but long-term holders are reliably, very comfortably buying right now and adding to their position. And so, great time to buy. But here's the deal. Like I said, I'm seeing a minefield here. So I have a Fibonacci retracement here. I drew it. This was kind of annoying. I was doing it on my phone, and I'm not going to fix it. So it's a hair off. But for the importance of talking about this isn't that far. It's not far enough off. It's like, a fraction of a percent off. But, $69,000 top, $42,000 bottom. And so here's the deal. There's so many different levels that will serve as rejections between here and next time we see $60,000. And so right now, unfortunately, the 50-week and the 200-day simple moving averages are forming rejections, at least over the last 5 days. We're seeing rejections there. But then last week, we tried 3 times between December 4th and today to break through the 21-week EMA. We got rejected every time. And so what's happening here, short-term sellers are taking profits here. If they bought in the 40s, they're taking some profits at the 21-week EMA. That's a logical time to do that. But here's the good news with that. Long-term holders did not sell at $52,000. There was very little selling from long-term holders. I mean, there's always some selling from long-term holders, but for the most part, for a large majority of long-term holders, $52,000 was not their price point to sell. And so for long-term holders to sell, I made a TikTok today. I said, here's when I'm going to turn bearish. It's basically when long-term holders start selling, and they're not selling, so I'm not a bear. I'm a crab for sure. I'm not a bull. I'm a crab, but I'm definitely not a bear. And so for long-term holders, they need a higher price than $52,000 or the 21 weekly EMA, which means, so where are long-term holders going to sell? Well, all right. Now here's where it gets difficult. There are going to be certain levels where some long-term holders are going to sell. It just the question is how many of them will sell at these levels, because there's certainly a group of people, a cohort of people who believe that $69,000 was the top for this cycle. Do I believe $69,000 was the top? Absolutely not. I don't care how long it takes. It could take all of 2022, and I'm sorry, but that's got to be within your expectations that we might need all of 2022 to break through the all-time high again, or to get over $100,000 or something like that, and maybe it'll happen in 2023. But in my opinion, before the next halving, we will see, I place high levels of confidence that we will see six-figure Bitcoin and beyond. It's going to take a while. And especially, I really don't think that we're going to see a new all-time high in January. I think it's kind of unlikely for February, March. We'll see. But there are people who think that $69,000 was the top. There's always a percentage of people who believe certain things. There's people who believe we're going down into teens. I think they're crazy. There's somebody on Twitter I saw who thinks we're going down to like $7,000 Bitcoin. It's like, you're out of your mind. But anyway, what he's doing is comparing Bitcoin to the dot-com bubble. Anyway, but that's nonsense. Here's the deal. Here's when this group of long-term holders who believe that $69,000 was the top, they were not willing to sell at $52,000. So now we're looking at a higher retracement level. Then maybe this is going to be the point that they sell. So next candidate would be $55,240. The candidate after that would be $58,406. I think that's the most likely one. And this is probably the most painful point, is this $58,000 level, because man, could you imagine the excitement and the optimism that enters the system if Bitcoin gets up to $58,000 and it's like, we're so close to $60,000 again. We're gonna do it. It's not over. And then boom, it dumps again. So I think there's going to be some resistance at 55,000, and I think that there's going to be a great deal of resistance at 58,000. I think the actual number is 58,700 or something like that. The 618 retracement level. It's a pretty well known. If a price of anything, a stock, a cryptocurrency, dumps really hard, what you do is you create a range between the top and the bottom, and you look for the 0.618. And you see that as a key level of, if we break through this level, and the 702, which is a little higher, but if we break through this level, we might be good, but there's a good chance we're going to get rejected there. And over the short term, if we get back to the $50,000 range, it's just this level, I think we're going to see some heavy resistance due to, let's say it's like 5% of long-term holders are like, I'm going to sell my position at 58,000. That's going to send us back down to the 40s. Maybe not the 40s, but I think that we're going to get to the 50s, get rejected at one of these levels, and then go back down to the 40s. And then we're going to need another move up into the 50s before there's enough confidence for us to break through the 60s. So rejection, and then we see anywhere near this 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level. If we see anywhere near there a second time, my confidence is very high that we're going to break through that. But when's that going to happen? How long is that going to happen? How long is it going to take for that to happen? It could take weeks. It could take months. It could take the whole year. And I'm sorry if that's frustrating to you to think about, but you've got to have that on your radar. Great deal of confidence that we are at a floor-ish level, especially if long-term holders continue to act the way that they're acting. And I have a great deal of confidence that we're going to get rejected at one of these levels, the 0.5 or the 0.618. And then when we get rejected, it depends on how hard we get rejected there. If it's moderate, so be it. If we go back down to the 40s, and what I would expect is that long-term holders will continue to accumulate again, then we're off to the races, I think. But it's a minefield. That's what I'm telling you guys. It's a minefield between here and the 60s for sure, but just even new all-time highs again. We have a lot of work to do. And as long as, a couple things could cause us to just blow through those levels, one being a Fed reversal on their tapering on the interest rates being raised. Another one being a Bitcoin spot ETF being approved. That would be ultra bullish. But unless those things don't happen, I think we're going to crab for a while. Days, weeks, months, maybe months. So we'll see. As soon as I start seeing, as soon as we start seeing any kind of positive move in this direction, that we get near these fib levels, if it's soon, awesome. And we'll move on. But man, this is not for the faint of heart. And if you were in it for a Lambo tomorrow, I'm sorry. That's never how this was going to play out. And so you need to have a more long-term perspective, and you need to adjust your expectations, and you need to have a level of conviction that yes, we are in a position of strength right now. And if that's your positioning, then awesome, you are going to make it. But if not, if you want your Lambo tomorrow, I'm sorry, you are not going to make it. I'm not sorry, actually. I'm very much not sorry. You guys know, for those of you who have been with me through the thick and the thin, that's never been my mindset. That I'm looking to build something more generational. And I think that's the right play. in a situation like this. But anyway, that's all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful week, an awesome 2022. That is not 2020 part 2. Get it? Hot dad joke. Anyway, much love to you all. Have a great week. Peace.